Hey, welcome everyone to the Architect Marketing Institute live stream. Today's topic, high performance goal setting, from one of my favorite teachers, my esteemed partner here, Richard Petrie, who has a background in high performance mental skills that he applies to marketing and to business and life in general. My name is Eric Bobrow, and together we run the Architect Marketing Institute. So how are you doing today, Richard?
Doing well, Eric. Thank you. Nice to see a good number of people here today. So we're going to run through some distinctions around goal setting, which I think you'll find it really useful for helping you focus.
So let us know that you can hear us and see our cameras. Richard will be sharing the screen shortly. We are going live in our Facebook group, on our LinkedIn business page, and on our YouTube channel. You'll be able to see comments from others on your channel, your portal. We'll see all of them collected in our TV studio. It's going to be fun, and you're going to get a lot out of this, I promise, in the next half an hour. So please type in, let us know that you can hear us and see us, and we'll get going here. All right, I do see Ken Brooks, hey, and James Perch, a couple of old friends there. So go ahead, Richard. I think we can proceed. If you're on Facebook, please use the information. Go to streamyard.com/Facebook, I think is what it is, to allow us to see your name and image in the comments. All right, Richard, take it away.
All right. So we're going to go for about half an hour here, and at the end of half an hour, we'll do some Q&A and get any feedback or any comments or questions. But firstly, look, Eric and I work with architects. We've been doing it for about 10 years, helping them win sort of top 20% projects. And I run coaching group. Well, for our top group, we've got different tiers of coaching, but the top group, I do one-on-ones with our mastermind members. And not too long ago, I was doing one-on-ones, and we'd set 90-day plans for them. So, well, they would set 90-day plans for themselves, but they would sit down and talk to me and work out their 90-day plans. And I was getting a few of them coming up saying, I'm really stuck. I don't really know what I should be setting, right? They'd achieved a lot. They were pretty successful architects and successful with their marketing as well. But it's like, I don't know where I should be going, right? And so, well, you know, it depends on where you want to take your business. And this was 3 of them in a row. I really don't know. I really don't know where I want to take my business. I've got this going on and this going on and this going on. And what I kind of realized was that the thing that was missing for a lot of these people who were very successful in their architecture practice was the reason it was holding them back setting their business goals and where do I want to take my business is we actually needed to work out what they wanted to do with their life first. Right? Because they had their business kind of worked out, but what they didn't have was their life worked out. They had dedicated their life to architecture and their business, and everything pretty much took a back seat. You know, when they went on holidays was dependent on when it suited the business. Their day was all revolved around their business. Everything reverse engineered back from the business. What I should have is the life, sort of fitting into the business. But what we realized was that we need to work out what your life is, what sort of life you want first. And once we've worked, because that's more important, right? That is more important. Your life, right? And yeah, there's a whole lot of quotes, no one ended up on their deathbed going, I wish I worked more. Well, we know that intellectually, but it's not how we live out, not how we plan. We design our life, or it's not how we don't design our business to make sure we've got a good life usually. Okay, so this is the order. Ultimately my life is the most important thing, and I know you know this logically, but I don't think it's the way you run your life. Then our business needs to be designed in a way that gives us that life, and then the next 90 days needs to be designed in a way that gives us the business we want. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Is we're going to be spending a bit of time saying, how do you want to live? And we'll go back and go, well, therefore, what sort of business do you want to do? Now, this reverse engineering back from your life is actually quite transforming, because what it does is put everything in the proper perspective again. All right. Now, just quickly, my name is Richard Petrie. I've written 3 books, but more importantly, I run this course, well, not a course, it's a program with Eric Bobrow, who's my partner, called SIX+MAPS. And effectively what I'm going to take you through today is sort of step number 1 in the whole process. And we're going to do it quickly. We normally take a lot longer, but I can give you enough that gives you something that you can go away and have a think about and apply. Now, if you're on this and you are open to getting help to win better projects, and why would that not be a good idea? And you don't have a coach and you would like the idea of, okay, I'd like to find out what you guys do, or I've heard about you guys, then at any point, just type in call, just write in the chat window call, and we'll get someone to give you a call. We'll have a chat and run you through some of the options for helping you win better projects. All right. Now, a couple of background principles before we get into this that are probably worth knowing, and I'll just cover these very quickly. Most of you have probably heard of Wilfredo Pareto. He was an Italian economist. In 1890, he came up with this thing called the Pareto principle. Well, he didn't call it the Pareto principle, but it was named after him. And it basically states that 20% of the things that you do generate 80% of your results. It actually came from, he discovered 20% of landowners in Italy owned 80% of the land. And that's never changed. In Italy, Germany, France, England, Spain, he then studied everywhere. It was the same. 20% of the people owned 80% of the land, and that was his discovery. But what we have since discovered, that pretty much this 80-20 applies everywhere. There are a vital few things that have a disproportionate effect, right? A vital few people make all the difference in society. There's a vital few things that you do in your day which get you all your results. Might be 1 or 2 phone calls that you make that make the big difference, and everything else didn't really count. So this 80-20 is everywhere. The second principle is around how our mind works, right? So this is an iceberg. This is your mind. You've got your conscious and your subconscious. Conscious mind operates on logic, which is how we often set our goals. We set logical, SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Great, makes sense.
Richard?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. You aren't moving your slides forward. So I know you have images for Pareto and the 80-20.
Ah. Okay. What do you see now?
Yeah, now we're seeing the images and emotions, etc. You just
okay.
We're staying on the original chalkboard. So
okay. Well, we'll see, because I've got another one. I'll tell you when I'm moving it, and you tell me if it's changing or not. Okay, so right. So what we want to do is set goals that are more emotional and image rich, and it makes a big difference. Now I've just moved it here. Have you seen the new one? You seeing the new slide, Eric?
No, I'm not. It's still this conscious and subconscious. Now we are.
Okay, we're jumping out. Okay. Interesting. All right. So when it comes to emotional, a very quick way to just do an emotional assessment on how we feel about things is just put everything on as sort of a 1 to 10 scale. So for me, if I think about cars, how do I feel emotionally about a Nissan Leaf? Not much. 1. I mean, I know it's electric and it's quite good. Tesla, yeah, a little bit more. I'm talking about the small one, probably a 4. I mean, I wouldn't spend that money. Toyota RAV4, that's what I've got. Audis, yes, I'd give that an 8 or 9. And Porsche, yeah, I like the design of a Porsche. Probably, an electric Porsche would be good, or a hybrid. That would be my scale. So we've all got these scales, and I think by having a 0 to 10 scale, it gives us a quick assessment of where we fit on the emotional scale. Now, this is important, because if we're going to do goal setting, not all things are equal, right? And it's important to really do an emotional gut check on everything we ever put on emotional plan, so that it's something which actually moves us emotionally. Because when it moves us emotionally, we start affecting ourselves at a subconscious level. And our subconscious is far more powerful. It's almost like we've got 2 legs. We've got one leg, which is our left leg, and our right leg is our One's our conscious mind, our right leg's our subconscious. If we just engage our conscious mind, let's say using SMART goals, it's like we're hopping. We've only got one leg to work on. If we engage our subconscious as well, both of them, it makes logical sense for us to pick these goals, particularly around our life, and it makes emotional sense as well. Now we've got two legs, and when you're on two legs, you don't go twice as fast as when you're on one leg, right? One leg, you're hopping. Two legs, you're running. Okay, and that's the difference when you engage your subconscious, and that's the thing I talked about in the email you probably got, or the message you might have got, talking about why it makes it so much more powerful. All right, what we're going to do now is jump back here. I'm going to share my screen and change what you're seeing. Okay. All right. So what I've got here is what we would take, what we do take people through. Okay. So notice here when we're setting goals, and I'm going to make this a lot bigger. I know Eric will. Hopefully that you can see that well. Okay. So what we've got is step number 1, we design our life. Step number 2, the business. Step number 3, the action plan for the next 90 days. Now, I'm going to focus on this one because I know a lot of you, we have a whole lot of stuff in here around business, and maybe we'll get to it, right, where we talk about different things. How do you want to run your business, and what sort of KPIs do you need? Very useful, but not until you know what this is, okay? So we've broken up for the life, how do you want to feel, is 3 things. It's who do you want to be, and this is kind of like a checklist. All right, this is a checklist of things to consider. Now, they're not all going to be equal because remember, we had the 80-20 principle saying there are all these things available. By the way, you can get a copy of this mind map if you just type into the chat window. Eric will send it to you. If you just type in, what's the word, Eric? Is it mind map, isn't it?
Yeah, mind map is good.
Yeah. Yep, just type in mind map and you'll get a copy of this. It'll be well worth having, okay? So I'm going to go through it now. Now, when you're designing your life, there's probably only 3 things you need to consider, right? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what sort of things do you want to have? Okay, so this is what we get all our mastermind members to do. Now, when it comes to be, there's 2 parts that I've got here. These are just checklists for you to consider, right? Who do you want to be? What's your identity, right? Now, you might say, well, I'm a father. I want to be successful. This is how I want to see myself. I want to feel abundant. I want to make a difference. I'm a husband. I'm a son. And I want to be a catalyst for good things to happen. That's how I want to see myself. Okay, now this is goal setting for your life, because you think about it, how do you want to see yourself? So these are kind of things I put down, right? So these are my answers. They don't have to be your answers. But how do you want to see yourself? Okay, so just make any quick notes to yourself now. How do you want to see yourself? Not how do you see yourself, but how do you want to see yourself, and what are the roles you play? All right, so have a little think about that, and actually just type into the chat window if you can any ideas into the chat window, and we'll quickly go into that. Oh, we've got Glenn McArdle here. Cool. Okay, so any ideas for your identity? Anyone got anything different or more creative than what I've got? How do you want to see yourself? A few mind map requests. Who's going to be the first person to actually put something personal in there? How do you want to see yourself? What identity do you want to have? Maybe it takes a week. There's a wee bit of slow time. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. Wrong one. Right. Next one is emotions. And the quality of your life is really determined by the quality of the emotions that you feel on a daily basis. And so, we know we probably don't know any, but we know there's billionaires in Silicon Valley who are not happy. They've got all the money in the world. They've got a beautiful house, drive whatever car they want, and they're not happy. We know Robin Williams, the comedian, he won all the awards, was celebrated, everybody loved him, but he wasn't happy, killed himself, right? And yet we know there's very poor people in some countries. There's the slums in India, where there's people in the slums in India who are happy. They've got their family, they've got colorful clothes, they dance, sing, they don't need money. They're happy with their life because they do good feelings on a regular basis, right? They're wealthier in some respects than someone like Robin Williams, who was unhappy, right? So it's not about money necessarily, it's about how you feel. So what are some of the emotions that you want to feel? So I put down happy, ambitious. I like being ambitious. Some people say, just accept where you are and all that type of stuff. Well, for them maybe, but for me, I actually quite like being driven. Joy is a great emotion. I love doing that one. Grateful's a really important one. Generous, I need to work on that, but I see the value in it. I need to be way more generous. Lucky is a good emotion to feel, right? Feeling that you're lucky, that's just a feeling. Peaceful, yep. Driven, yep. Fun, yep. I used to feel a lot more fun than I do now. I'm actually a bit more boring now. And then what others? So I'm going to go to this chat window and see what identities or emotions that you want to have in your life. Okay, Glenn McCardle, money. He wants money and impact. Good on you. To leave a legacy. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, as you can see, these are more important things because these are the outcomes. And then you design your business back from some of these things. Anyone else got any comments? Put them in, please. Thank you, Glenn McCardle, for sharing, for being the only one who's sharing at this stage. Oh, no, Kenneth, I take that back, Kenneth. Satisfaction. Yeah, right, okay. Feeling satisfied, right? And in some respects, that's an interesting one because for me, I like feeling slightly unsatisfied because it gives me fire. And I can also see that being satisfied is also a good feeling because it's a sense of achievement. I suppose you could have both, right? Okay, good. Emotion, creative and caring and courageous. That's a good one. Courageous. Creative, caring, and courageous. The 3 C's. Okay. Kenneth, meaningful. Wants to feel meaningful. Yeah, who doesn't want a sense of purpose? We've actually got to put these down and choose them and then be conscious and deliberate about it when we're designing our life. I want to feel these emotions. I want to play these roles. I want to see myself in this way, right? I want to leave a trace, says Ellie. Leave a trace. David Cookson says, I want to feel like a mind map. Right. Okay, so let's go back to this. Okay, so we've got B. That's some clues for who do you want to be, right? Now, here's the one that most people do have, and this is all they really do, is they do, what do I want to do? What do I want to do with my life? And you might come up with a bucket list. And bucket lists are good ideas for fun. And there's a friend of mine, Trav Bell, who came up with an acronym for my bucket list. Cool, of my bucket list, which lists a whole lot of different things that you could have on a bucket list. Okay, so he's got meet a personal hero. I tried filling this out. Meet a personal hero, and I put Tony Robbins. I've given him a high five before. I wouldn't say I've sat down and met him. In terms of emotion, I'd like to meet him, but it's not that big a thing. Your proud achievement. I'd like to win a World Cup. I play a bit of cricket still, and we play sort of Masters cricket, and I'd like to win a Masters World Cup. Buy that special something. I've put down the Porsche Cayenne. Well, it's not a big one for me, I must admit. It's not like super high because they're like 200 grand, and I also value spending money, and I just don't think that's a sensible spending of money.
Hey, Richard, can you blow these up a little bit?
Oh, yes, sorry. Yep, okay. Right, the next one, ultimate challenges. Well, get down to 96 kgs. I'm quite a big guy, so I'm 6'4", 193 centimeters. So I'm not fat, but that would be a good fighting weight for me. Conquer a fear. Couldn't really think of any. Acts of kindness. Oh, 6 scholarships, actually. That's what I put down. I haven't seen this for a while. But we occasionally give out a 6 scholarship to someone. 6 is the marketing program that we do. It's the one that gets everybody into Sunshine Island. And occasionally, if we give one away to someone who we think would make a difference to them. Express yourself. That's kind of going out and doing something creative. Take lessons in something. I have done a bit of French, but I didn't really follow through on it too hard. These are just a checklist of ideas, right? Leave a legacy. I want to put my kids into houses. That's what I want to do. You can pick some idiotic stuff. Travel adventures. New York, Costa Rica. We're going to go to New York in June. Satisfy curiosity is another one. So all that acronym stands for my bucket list. Type in the chat window if you've got anything on this list that would add juice to your life. I mean, you really should try and put something down for everything. You don't have to do everything that comes up on these checklists, right? You'll then 80-20 them all, and you'll pick out the ones that are really meaningful to you. And you can leave the rest on list. You can leave the rest of them on the list and sort of say, I'll do them later once I've done the things that I want to do. But I'm going to have a quick look to see what you guys have said. Porsche Cayenne GTS, right? Glenn McArdle's going for the top of the line Porsche SUV. Why not? Right? Now, I would like that too. I would like it, but it would be a 7 out of 10 for me. So it's probably not something I'm going to do anytime soon, because they're about 200 and how much are they in New Zealand? They're 200 and something thousand. Glenn's in New Zealand as well. Oh, there you go. Glenn's off and away. Own a penthouse in Paris. Now, how cool would that be? How cool would that be? Own a penthouse in Paris. Yeah, I can see why he's put money earlier on, right? But if these things fire you up, now he's got a lot of. I know he's done the B as well. He's done. Who do I want to be? He's got what do I want to. These are kind of do things here, I suppose, aren't they? All right, good. Let's go back to the mind map for item number 3. Now this is kind of, I suppose I probably shouldn't have put the Porsche. Would I put a Porsche? Oh, yeah, no, that is fitting here. Buy something. So number 3 is what do you want to have? Okay, now this is where you have your doodads. What toys do you want to have? How much money do you want to be worth? What sort of house, car, motorbike? These ones, honestly, the things I have, I'm not, I could sit there and go, I want a Porsche Cayenne and I want a house in New York and, Manhattan. They're not as important to me as the who do I want to be and what do I want to do, I guess. That's what I'm saying, but still worth having them. They may be for you. So house, in Paris for Glenn, Porsche Cayenne. So have some ideas on that. So what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what sort of things do you want to have in your life? And this is you designing your life. Now you can put down anything else. I just think be, do, have is a good summary. So let's see some more. Come on. A Cayman is a poor man's 911. Oh, no, it's not. It's a bigger car. It's more practical. You can stick your stuff in. If you've got rental properties like me, you can stick stuff in the back of the Cayman. You can't do that in the back of a 911. So experiences, says Glenn, bring, be, and do together, right? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Any other ideas? Any other good ideas for be, do, have? All right. Helping others, says David Cookson. That's good. You just got to know what it is. There's certain things on that emotional scale that will make you feel good, and there's certain things that won't. Not as much. Right? And it's a case of just sitting down And I know, you know, sitting down here, I mean, Glenn's pretty creative and he'll bang them out. Some of you will have to think about it a bit more, and that's fine. But this is a good checklist. And if you haven't, like most people haven't designed their life, how do you want to live? Most people haven't done that deliberately, right? So I really reckon it's very important for you to take time to say, who do I want to be and how do I want to live and what do I want to have and what do I want to do with my life before you then go and set your business goals. Okay, so let's go and have a look at it now. Let's say you've done this exercise, and I know most of you haven't done too much. Oh, James Perch. James is a SIX member. By the way, if you don't have the mind map that's on the screen, just type in mind map and Eric will get it to you. James Perch says, I want to be known in the industry as the best at the projects I really want to work on. Yeah, perfect. Well, that's SIX+MAPS, isn't it? Right? So, okay, so he's now jumping into his business. So let's go into the business side. And if that's the life we want to live, now what we need to do is say, okay, well then, based on, I'll jump out of Archville, but based on the life I want to live, because you might say how many days, well, I'll go through it. You know, now let's design a business that will allow you to live this life, right? I mean, one thing that's not there is how much money do I want to earn? It's on the KPIs, but in the spectrum, we use a spectrum. How many days do you want to be working per week, right? Do you want to be a specialist or a generalist? In this case, I put specialist. Do you want to be local or global? Right? Well, for me, it's global. You know, we work with architects all around the world, so I don't want to be just local. We need to be global. Do you want large clients or small clients? For us, smaller design firms. Do you want lots of staff or no staff? Well, just contractors, way more flexible. Okay, but you know, what do you want? Okay, let's design this business. If getting the life that you want to live is the main goal, and you could do a couple of versions of this, but if getting the life that you put on the right-hand side was the main goal, what sort of business would you have to have? Would you work from home or in the office? Would you get your clients from referral only or marketing? Would you want to be like a secret weapon, or do you want to be famous? Right, obviously for a business like us, it helps to be more well-known. Do you want clients, well, particularly for architecture, who care about, well, in your case, it would be clients who care about design. Or do you want clients who don't really care about design? They just need you to bang it out, right? So these are some of the things to, you know, how many days do you want to be working? How much money do you want to be earning? Okay, so then you start designing your business based on your life. I guess you could design a couple of different lives and then a couple of different businesses, depending on the life. I think there would be really good flexibility in saying, all right, I'm going to design a couple of different lives. And then I'm going to, in my head, I don't have to follow through on all these, but I'm going to design the businesses. I'm going to say, what is the perfect business? And don't hold yourself back. Just put stuff down. And when you've done the whole exercise, see how it feels, right? Then what are the KPIs I'm going to need? Okay, for revenue, for profit, for number of days off, for number of projects I'm going to work on in a year. You may need to work on less projects and higher value projects if you're only going to work 3 days a week, or if you're only going to work 8 months a year, right? Let's say I'm going to work 8 months a year. Okay, great. How many projects are you going to do? I'm going to do, well, last year I'm a sole firm operator. I did 10 and I'm busy. Okay, well, if you were to earn twice the money and only work 8 months a year, how many projects? Well, that would be tricky. Yeah, it might be a wee bit tricky, but let's just play around with this for a minute. What say you only did, let's say last year you earned 100,000 and we're saying, well, we want you to earn 200,000 in 8 months. How would that work? Okay, well, hypothetically, I would have to earn, let's say my overheads are 100. Let's say I'd have to earn $300,000 in fees. and then 100 grand's worth of expenses. Well, okay. So how would that work? If you're only going to work, okay, I can only take on 3 projects. Maybe I'm making this up here, right? But let's say it would work if I did 3 I could work on 3 projects. That's it for the year. Right. And you may say, well, I couldn't even do that in 12 months. The projects are all over the place. Yeah, but maybe I start them all at the same time. Something like this, right? You design something. I'm only going to work on 3 projects. Maybe it's not 8 months. Maybe you're working longer, but you're just going to double your income. I'm going to take on 3 projects. They're each going to be worth $100,000. Okay. Well, that would be $300,000 in revenue, $100,000 for expenses or whatever. There you go. There's your 200,000. You've doubled your income. Okay. The question now is, we've now designed the business. We've now designed the in terms of the revenue model. Now it's a case of, how am I going to do that? Okay, that's fine, right? There's a lot of people doing $100,000 fee, like lots of people doing it. So it's not undoable. The question is, how are you going to do it? Okay. Now that's a different question. Where at the moment we're designing a business and designing our life. Okay. But at least we've now got, okay, well, then the question is, okay, well, if I need 3 projects a year, and I know your goals may be completely different to this, but just humor me for a second. The only thing I'm missing is how, right? Right? Because I know there are people, doing $100,000 fee projects. I mean, if I'm taking 10% of a construction cost and I need $3 million projects, well, there's $1 million projects out there, right? So to win $3 million projects would be 3 nice houses, for example. That's not, okay, you say, yeah, I know there's people winning those and they're out there, and if they can win them, I can win them. But how? I'm not. I'm winning $40,000. Okay, well, all you're missing is the how. Okay, so, then you're going to have to go, well, okay, how am I going to do that? Okay, well, then if you don't know, you're going to have to find someone who does know, right? Is there an architect who's doing $100,000 houses? And they say, well, what are you doing? How are you winning $100,000 fee houses? Maybe there's a coach. Oh, there is, right? So, maybe we can help you. And if you want help from us on how to win, different projects to what you're winning now, type in call and we'll have a chat to you and run you through it. Or maybe there's a book you can get that talks about, I don't know, or maybe there's a different business coach that you like more than you like me. Right? There's answers out there. But until you've worked out what or where or how you want to do it, or where you want to go, it's hard to ask, how do I do that, if you don't even know where you want to go? Okay, so, right, let's just have a look. I just want any feedback. What's your biggest takeaway from this? Obviously, then you'd break it down. I'm not going to go into this because you then set out an action plan for how you're going to go and do it. But one of your biggest action plans, let's say if you've worked out, here's what a life I want to live, therefore here's the business I'm going to need. I'm going to need 3 projects a year, not 10, and they're going to need to be worth this much. Your only question is, okay, who can help me, or where can I, that's an easier question, right? Once you've got the outcome, it's not that hard to find the answers. There's people out there that know them. All right. Okay. Oh, good. Here we go. I'm just going to go through some of these. Oh, okay. So, David Cookson, to own a yacht and sail to the UK. How cool. How cool. What's that say? Pink waving. Gabrielle Tonte. Gabriella, I should say. No, Gabriella is a marketing coach and architect in Italy. He's a good friend of ours, and he does some great stuff with us. Oh, I think that's an icon, is it? That's not actually a message. Right, gotcha. Right, okay, gotcha. Okay. I couldn't miss it. Yeah, good. Goal setting is too important for a professional. Glad you and Richard decided to talk about it. Dead right. All right. Need project providers. What do you mean, L? Need projects providers. You need better projects. Is that what you're saying, to be able to live the life you want to live?
Probably referrals or some way of getting people to provide projects to work on.
Right. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, we're not talking about that today, and because this is about goal setting. But the thing is, you know, let's all be honest. There are systems out there. There are people out there who know what to do and how to do it. This is what Eric and I do on a daily basis, but we're not the only ones. If you want help winning better projects, you know, get a book. I don't know, watch some YouTube videos, get a coach. Get a coach is the, you know, probably the easiest one, I suppose. But consider it. If you want a coach, then just type in call and we'll have a chat with you and run you through how we can help you. But there's things to do, right? Any takeaways, please? Type in your biggest takeaway from this. I mean, since I've been teaching this for about the last year about you've got to design your life first, I've now got to the stage where I'm going, this is obvious. Of course it's obvious. And sometimes I sit here and going, you know, you got to design your life first and then design your business. And I think, am I teaching people to suck eggs here? But I remember when we first sort of came on this, it was like, this was a breakthrough because I certainly wasn't doing it. And our mastermind group, who are our top people, weren't doing it. And then we started to do it. But I'm now at the stage where it's so obvious because I've been talking about it for a year that I feel a bit silly sometimes saying it. But okay. So what's your big takeaway, guys? Big takeaway. Dream. What's he got here? Dreams to goals, to learn, to plan, to results. Okay, right. Yeah, it really is. This is no different from reverse engineering backwards like an architect would do. Imagine an architect, if you can, coming up with a concept for how the building wants to look. You know, you got to start with the end in mind. You start with the end with a bit of a vision, and you play around with the vision until it feels 10 out of 10 in your heart and in the gut of your client. And you keep tweaking the concept round until they go, yeah, that's it. And everyone's happy and go, brilliant. And everyone's excited and everyone's 10 out of 10 at it. You don't stop when the client's like 7 out of 10 and you're 8 out of 10. You don't. You'll keep designing it and you'll keep playing around with it until you go, that's it. I love it. And the client goes, I love it too. Right. And then you go, right, how are we working backwards? You then go into construction drawings and then you break everything down and you work backwards from the final point. This is what you do for a living, right? And the irony is when you come to designing your life, you don't use the same disciplines and principles that you use. And as Gabriella says, my biggest takeaway in this is that business is a vehicle for lifestyle. It's something I've heard Richard talk about before when I was very early in my career, and it's pivotal. Yeah. Your business is a vehicle for your life. It's a vehicle to get you where you want to be in life. Your life isn't a vehicle to get you where you want to in business, right? That's putting the cart before the horse. Thanks for that comment, Gabriella. People who, I'm not sure what you say, people who introduce you. You're talking about referrals, I'm thinking. You're right. And referrals is probably the number one in our training anyway. It's the number one project winning strategy because it works so well. Right. So when we teach, how do you win projects? The first thing that Eric and I have you do is go out and put in place referral strategies. Why? Because referrals work. How do we know? Because you probably already get 60 to 100% of your business already from referrals or word of mouth. Okay. Yeah, but I don't have enough work. Yeah, but how many referral systems do you have in place? None. Oh, okay. So you do nothing other than good work, but you do nothing formulaic or systematic or organized, strategic to trigger referrals. No. And yet 80% of your work come from referrals and word of mouth. Yes. Okay. Well, what would happen if we actually did something? What would happen if we actually put in place some things that triggered referrals, like referral systems? Could we double or triple your referrals? Because at the moment you're doing nothing. Could you double or triple? Well, possibly you could triple or quadruple. If you quadrupled your referrals because you had referral systems in place, what would that do for your business? Well, I'd have to I wouldn't be able to handle them all. Okay, is that a problem? Well, no. Well, how would you handle it? I would have to have a waiting list. I would probably have to put my fees up, or I'd be able to put my fees up. I would be able to pick and choose the projects that I wanted to work on. Maybe I could pick and choose just the $100,000 fee projects and only do 3 of them. Oh, I've solved my problem, right? So yeah, referrals. We know referrals work. So why don't we try and double or triple the one thing that we know works for every architect around the world, except one. I know one architect who never got referrals. And I think I know why as well, right? But every other architect in the world gets virtually all your business from referrals and you don't do anything. So you're on the right track, Al. If you think that people, being introduced by people is the key way to go, you're right. But you need referral systems. So you need someone who knows referral systems. If you put in call in the call me in the thing below, you can have a chat with Sue, and Sue can run you through what we do and how we do it, right? That's our primary, not our only. We've got 12 different referral strategies, but I always send people to referrals first for the reasons I've just told you. Glenn, love the mind map way of perceiving the whole life to business goals. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. I like the idea of bringing emotions into it rather than thinking about the logical shoulds. Exactly. And this is why I used to fail at goal setting all the time, because I would think about what should I be putting on my goals? And I would come up with a should list. And the should lists, out of 10, some of them they made sense. They might have been 7s, but I don't think we achieve 7 goals. Not if we have to work for them. We achieve 10 goals. We have achieved 10 be, do, and haves. When they're really fired up and emotional, then we're engaging our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. So thank you for that. Yeah, by the way, if you haven't got the mind map, just type in mind map and we'll get that to you. It's a great checklist for thinking about, starting with the most important thing first, which is your life. Probably something worth sitting down, talking with your husband or your wife as well, getting them to do it as well. Duncan, another New Zealander. We've got a few Kiwis on this call today, given we've sort of go all around the world. How important is it to ask the right questions? In what respect? I need more detail on that.
I think he's saying it's so important to ask the right questions. And that's what you're bringing up is that if you don't think about your life goals, if you don't ask the questions, what do I want in my life? Then,
right.
So.
Yeah, because if you just go in default mode of living your life and being under pressure to produce an income for your family, then you'll constantly just default to, well, what do I need to do for my business? Right. And everything is, what do I need to do for my business? What do I need to, or this project? You get stuck in the projects and you don't think about your business. And because you're stuck in your projects, you don't think about your business. You don't think about your designing your life. Right. What's more important, designing a business or designing a life? Right. What's more important? The business is just a vehicle. It's just a tool that you use to get you to the life you want. We're all going to be dead soon, right? And we're not going to look back and go, we're on a deathbed. We're going to look back on our life. We're not going to look back on our business, right? Business might be one tiny element of it, but we're going to look back on our family. We're going to look back on the places we've traveled to, the achievements we've made, our relationships. We're going to look back on those things, right? That's when you get perspective, when you think you're going to die. And all of a sudden, perspective comes, basically you'll end up doing what I'm doing now, which is saying, hey, things in life are more important than now, it's not to say business is not important. It's a great vehicle for allowing you and your family to have a great life. But that's all it is. It's a vehicle, right? So thanks for that comment, Duncan. Facebook user says it probably reaffirms my current thoughts in terms of sustainable existence. Okay, good. Kenneth says, my life then is an architectural design process. Exactly. Use the same successful, proven method that you use to build amazing spaces and do it for your life. Pick out where you want to be and then work backwards. Be the architect of our lives, says Glenn. Exactly. Well put. I wish I'd said that earlier. We could have got through a lot quicker, right? Thanks for simplifying that. Al says they get fees for that. Are you talking about your referrers?
Yeah, I think that's what it was in the context of, that they might get a referral fee to encourage them to do referrals. So.
You might do. Depends on who they are. If they're a real estate agent, they tend to like commissions and referral fees and things like that. But a lot of other people don't actually want a fee. They want to do it because they like you and because you do good work and that you can help their friend because they know you'll do a good job. But you do have to ask in a more systematic way. Most people don't ask at all, or they don't have referral systems, as I said earlier. Yeah, so you've got to be way more proactive on the referrals, because the referrals should be your number one project winning strategy. You know, there's reactive referrals where you just sit there and hope they come to you, and then there's proactive referrals where you go out and you trigger them because of things you've done and things you've said. But you don't have to pay. You know, people don't necessarily want to be paid, you know, for it. Thank you, Glenn. Love your work too. And I know you're talking with Eric, so we need to do more stuff together. It's their business. It's their business. Okay. Well, I see. You're talking about house and things like that.
Well, the referral stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, if if they respond to referral fees, then give them a referral fee if it's worth it. Most people who aren't, in the business of passing out referrals, usually I've found they don't want a fee. But if they do want a fee, you work out, it's definitely, I mean, paying a fee, you're going to pay for marketing. You're going to pay even more if you don't do marketing and you don't have the projects you want. So working out a decent fee is cheaper than not winning good projects, right? So it makes sense. Okay, Eric, I'm going to hand it just to you for any roundups and final thoughts. And
okay, so thank you all for joining us today. We'll be posting the recording so you can review it. Those of you who've requested the mind map, we'll definitely be sending it to you, or we'll post it on the replay page. Tell your colleagues about our live streams, which we're currently doing every week. So we'll be experimenting with this. It seems to be a good way to share some fresh material, get some real engagement and feedback, and be in touch with more of the people that we can help. So if you're interested in talking with someone on our team about our programs, to see if type of thing that we do could help you develop the life and the business that you want to have, then just type into the chat either now, or if you're watching the replay or the recording, you can also type there. But just call me, and we will make sure we reach out to you. So Richard, great presentation. I'm not quite sure what we're doing next week, but we'll definitely announce that in time for those of you who are interested to carve out time in your schedule. And we'll continue sharing our insights and perspective and experience so that you can get to Sunshine Island. You see behind me the image of Sunshine Island there, of a place where you have great projects and great clients and are paid well. That's what we aim to help you achieve in all of our work. So may you get to Sunshine Island sooner rather than later.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.